Welcome gamers to Dominion 6, Rise of the Pantocrator. We're going to be looking at this excellent game again for this little mini-series. I'm not sure how many episodes we'll get, but it'll be a handful anyway. And we're also going to be looking at one of the best mods that I've ever come across for any game. And this is a mod that has been sort of developed not just for Dominion 6, but over time. God, I don't know when the first time is that I started using just the individual units to sort of play in games. It's just... Yeah, it's been a work of art, and particularly recently, it's like for Dominion 6, this is a absolute no-brainer. If you're into Warhammer at all, grab it. It's Sombre's Warhammer mod, and it comes with a whole lot of other different mods as well that sort of are all part of it. Let's have a look and see what we've got. So what we have is, we've got Better Nations Overview, which is not part of Sombre's Warhammer mod. What this one does is it adds all the magic sites and shows all of the summons and free spawn into... When you're trying to prepare and figure out what to do with your nation, it will give you a lot more information. Just so it's a good one for new players to get hold of. Pretty much anyone, really. I mean, it's whether you're new or old or whatever it might be. With playing Dominions, it just gives you a much better picture in the actual setup screens, which is very, very handy. So we've got that one through there. The next ones I've got are... Well, they pretty much all come from Sombre's Warhammer mod. And you can see I'm using this as the current version is 1.05. Now, there is a 1.06 on the Steam that does show it there, but I don't know why it hasn't loaded in. It may be what's being worked on, the things that are coming. Anyway, this is incredible. What this one does is it adds a whole lot of different sorts of units and factions. It pretty much is a reskin of Dominions. And so if we have a bit of a look through there, it does give you important information. So important, only enable either Sombre Warhammer current version or one of the Sombre Warhammer static versions at a time. So if you are playing a multiplayer game, it gives you a static version just so that the game doesn't update midway through. But for single player, just the current version is probably the better way to go. So it adds a selection of 24 Warhammer nations to the Middle Age. 23 are either entirely created or exclusively updated for Dominion 6 by Sombre, and one nation created by Sasuli. The nations added here and their titles in game are, and then we've got like the Beastmen, Bretonia, Chaos Dwarves, Dark Elves, Dwarves, Khorne, Kislev, the Empire in a few different, three different sort of flavors from Altdorf, where the Empire actually sort of is like the heart of the Empire, and then a few of the others around there. 2 Greenskins, the Black Crags tribes and the Bone Nose tribes. The High Elves, the Lizard Men, Norska, Nurgle, Ogre Kingdoms, the Skaven, Slanesh, we've got Tilia, Tomb Kings, Undead, the Vampires, and the Wood Elves. So there's a heap in here, and these are really fleshed out. They've got their own spells. They've got their own abilities. They completely change the way that the game does play, depending on which one you're playing. It's got very, very... like I said before, it's a work of art. And this is really a work of art, just with what he's done with each one of these. This is not just different coloured units, that sort of play very blandly. These units are incredibly well thought through, very, very well balanced as well. So you end up with an incredible game when you do play with this mod. So it's a complete reskin, and it sort of lives in the Middle Age. So these get put into the Middle Age of the game. So what we then get is, so you can see there we've got the current version is on. What we then can get is there's one that's got Disable Vanilla MA, and this one here is a simple mod package with the Warhammer mod, which moves all of the Middle Age vanilla nations into the early age. So when you've got this one firing, all of the existing Dominions factions get pushed out into the early age, which means that you're only left with Warhammer nations, which is really, really cool. I like it a lot. And then, of course, the last one, well, not of course, but you've also then got Sombre Warhammer Pop Type 1.31. So a submod to allow Sombre's Warhammer nations to replace independent recruitables and independent province defense with national recruitables and province defense. So this mod only works in conjunction with and requires the Sombre Warhammer mod. So again, this is a submod, essentially, just to change the independence so that they're a little bit more Warhammer-like. You still get variation. faction, but it's just more in keeping with Warhammer. And there is another one I could turn on, which I'm thinking I might do. Another one does come with it as well, which is Warhammer Sombre's Warhammer AI Starting Forces Boost. And so a submod which requires the use of the Sombre Warhammer. All this mod does is give every AI-controlled Warhammer nation an additional starting army and several basic priests. This should help the AI with early expansion, providing a better single-player experience. Let's turn that one on as well. So that's going to make the game a little bit harder just by doing that one. So we'll just go and turn that one on as well. So there's a lot of different mods and sub-mods that come with the with this actual mod. But as I say, incredible mod. Let's just get started. By the way, welcome to my channel. My name is DasTactic. Please, if you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe. It certainly does help with the dreaded YouTube algorithm. Now I'll be spending time to try to explain the thought process while we go through this particular series. So there will be a bit of times when I just go through in very slow detail as to why certain things are happening. I think that's going to be helpful if you're not used to playing Dominions, because that will be whether you're playing this mod or with any of the Dominions aspects. I think one of the hardest things for new players with Dominions is actually figuring out what to do at the start. And so when you play a mod like this, for me anyway, like I don't play it all that often, and so I do have to go through a process of trying to figure out the best way of approaching a particular faction. So I'll go through all that with you. I'm going to be also trying to move things along a little bit as well, because I tend to play so slowly that I know that it does frustrate some of you. Not all of you, but some of you. Anyway, let's get into it. We're just going to go and create a world. I'm going to, in the world setup, I'm going to make it a small world, so only 10 provinces per player. I'm going to be playing in a donut world or a circle world for the simple reason that in the actual... there is actually a Warhammer map as well you can download, but I don't think it sets you up with the actual starts, the correct starts, but it is an excellent map by all accounts that you can actually go and download, but we'll play on a random map. And I'll play with a circle, a cave circle as well. So we'll just go circle, circle, which is a little bit like the Central Elvish nations. There's like an island in the middle of the ocean, but anyway, we'll just go and play with that one through there. Enable rivers, yes, that's okay. We'll just call this one Warhammer. I think I've already got one that's called that. Yes, we're going to delete that game. Middle Ages is what we want. Now, when we come back through, I can just leave them on random. There's no water nations, so there won't be any water nations. I can do a whole lot of things. By the way, one big tip when you're playing anywhere at all in Dominions is to press the shift and question mark, and that will bring up what you can then go and do. So, for example, if I do shift L, like if I do like the uppercase L, restrict all random to land nations, I can make it all water nations if I wanted to. I can remove all teams, create 2 teams of equal size, or whatever I want to be doing through here. They keep on adding to this, by the way. So even if you're playing the game, like these create 4 teams of equal size. This is for team games. I haven't seen this before, so it's always worth coming back in and pressing this question mark to see what's been done. Turn all players to humans, turn it to AI. You can actually also increase the difficulty of all AI players. So even though I'm now talking about it and spending a lot longer than clicking on every single one of them, I can just go back in and just go shift plus and just make the difficult AI. So I can go shift, I can just go minus, go to from easy. So I can do all of the different AIs all in one go. 1, 2, 3, that's 6 players. I'm happy enough with that. Let's now just go. I've already chosen the faction that I want to play, and I'll just go through and show you what I mean. So these are all of the various factions that we actually have, the 24 that have been added into the for this particular mod. You can see there's none of the existing ones in there. Let's have a look at the one that I've chosen, and rather than like a lot of these that I have not chosen for the simple reason there's so many different units that it would take too long to really explain. So that's one reason. And also very important that you read this national features with the actual faction. Like if you're playing as, for example, a Skaven, like the rat men. There is things like they can discover warpstone sites, etc., etc. So they're going to every faction has very unique ways of playing. If we do actually have heroes that come in as separately, that the grey seer, often there's a gap between units that you can then go and get like using the other mod like the one that sort of does show you the extra stuff. Yeah, so this is what I mean with that other mod. It does show you like Skaven Luck Independent Heroes. This site is not available from the start, but might appear later on. So there's a few different things like where that may sort of happen. They'll always be at the back end of your list. And so these three sites here, you see how there's a bit of a gap. There's a bit of a gap there. I'm thinking that this one may be a later on type unit. Anyway, that's but to go through, I'm going to be playing as Athel Loren. So let me just go through. These are the Wood Elves. If I just go and right click on this one, in fact I don't need to right click because I'm going to choose them anyway. So I'll just go in and grab them. I think I'll just keep the others as random, just so we don't know what we're going to be getting. There'll be other nations from Warhammer. So we'll just go and click on OK. And now we can actually have a look and see. I can right click back in the previous one to then start to make my choices. So it's very important that you get a feel for your actual faction. Now I'm covering some of the sites, but this, like running through here, see how there's a gap between this one and then these in through here, and then this one and then these in through here as well. So we're just seeing a little bit of a gap. There's a gap in there, for example. So these aren't available right from the start. So so we've got like a few different other sites that can come in depending on what we actually then go and do. But this is really important to actually get a thorough understanding of what is going on with your faction, so you can play it to the best of its ability. So let's read it through and get an understanding. So the Asrai, or Wood Elves, as some call them, are an offshoot of the elven people of Ulthuan, which I think is that big island, who long ago split from the Elven Empire, which once spanned the world to shelter in the ancient forests of Athel Loren. Over time, they struck a truce and then an alliance with the wild forest spirits, and now live in harmony with the world tree, under the leadership of their two divine rulers, Orion and Ariel. Now, I don't know if we see Orion. Orion is actually an interesting character who, yeah, we're not seeing Orion in here at all, actually, which is another character we do get, so it hasn't been included in it, like we're not seeing it back in through here. The Asrai reject both the sneering cruelty of the Dark Elves and the arrogant pride of the High Elves, instead striking a balance of grace and fury in which they protect their mystical home. Now a time of great change has come upon the world, and the Oak of Ages once more spreads life into its many world roots, calling for Asrai and the forest spirits to liberate the wildlands of the world from the tyranny of the squabbling mortal empires. So that sort of just sets us up. But the important thing is the race of graceful elves and forest spirits, and the elves essentially are going to be most of the actual characters that we see, like the riders, whatever they might be. The spirits are going to be things like Ents, dryads, and treekin. So, and these are magical. So military, superb archers, and skilled infantry, sacred cavalry, and spiteful forest spirits. All troops gain bonuses in forest provinces. So forests are incredibly important for our faction. Magic is strong nature, earth, water, air, glamour, and specialised astral and death casters. Spell singers can form chorus communions. So we can do that with some of these units, like there's a High Weaver and there's a spell singer in through there, for example. I can right click on these to sort of have a look and see what they've got. That's a floating unit. It did say that they can actually form communions, but I'm not sure where that is. Maybe it's one of these. I'm not seeing it there. Anyway, there is. There should be that ability there, so we can do that as well. Chorus communions. Priests are just average, so we do actually have sort of like average ability with our priests. We have a few that are like a common with both. So this one here, for example, is a priest level 1, but also a low level magic user. Although it does have a few randoms that can actually come into it. So this will be one of our sort of core type magical units. Mechanics. So labs and temples are cheaper in forests and more expensive outside. If you order a fort built in a forest, you immediately get a bramble fort. So, and that means there's no waiting for the forts. They just grow if you're in a forest province. But if you're outside of a province, everything costs a lot. So scales and blesses, the growth limit has a +2 boost to it. Now this is very, very important to actually understand. So we'll go through this in the next phase when we actually are building our commander, but just be aware this growth limit of +2 gives us a lot of things we can do. And so I'll explain what that means and why it's so important that we make the best use of that. It also means that selecting our Pantocrator or our Pretender God also comes with some interesting choices because of this. We also have a magic limit of +1. Now, generally the limits for any of these scales in Dominions is 2, either -2 or +2. But when you've got these things with another +2 or +1, it means we can ultimately get to growth 4 or magic limit 3 if we wanted to. So we can do that if we wanted to. Buildings, very primitive forts, so 20% more expensive. Temples cost 750. Temples cost only 400 in forests. Labs cost 750, and labs cost 500 in forests. So we do get a reduction if we do build in the actual forests themselves. So if you're going to be playing as Athel Lauren and you don't have forest right next to you, I would probably start again, and we'll be doing that here as well. So anyway, that's the actual Athel Lauren. Also important to sort of see where your sacreds are, so you can try to figure out your bless strategy. In this case, just to sort of rattle through it, and it's mainly the bless strategy for these units down through here, unless you've got like something extremely strong, like for example these ancient treemen. We'll only be able to get a few of these. Well, these will come every 3 turns, one of these every 3 turns. So do we want to build a bless strategy around these? I don't know. Like, these are going to be very, very powerful when we do bring them into fights. These are magic users. They're priest level 3. So having these around, armies will be centered around these units. But do we want to build a bless strategy around them? Probably not. One thing that we might want to do is try to overcome the susceptible to fire aspect, just so he can't be attacked by fire. And we can do that through bless strategies, like he's a sacred unit. So he's someone that we would be wanting to look, but the recruitment points, 6 of those, means that we only get 2 recruitment points per turn at each site, so it means 3 turns to be able to build one of these guys. So he does have good magic leadership, which is important. So ultimately, we probably will be wanting to bring some of these in just to be the central core that we then have around our armies. We've also got the lesser, like just normal tree men. These are also sacred. These are every 2 turns we can grab one of these. Again, high magic leadership, not very good leadership itself. Again, these would be good commanders for us to sort of use around the place. In terms of the actual units, though, we're looking just for sacred units all the way across, not sacred. So they're just magical units. These ones are sacred. These are the Wild Riders. And so to have a look at these ones, we can sort of see that their overall protection is not great. So they don't actually have like a lot of armor. They're just using leather. And they've got like a crested helmet. So the actual armor is bad on these. And these are a sacred unit. So we may look at trying to bolster this one. They do actually have invulnerable, though. This invulnerability is very hard to damage with non-magic weapons, and will have this amount of natural protection against mundane attacks. So in that sense, that one does actually overcome the weaknesses of just using the leather. The steed that it's riding as well, so it's got very, very low protection. These are the steeds of Kurnoos. So this one will also then come in. I think the invulnerability doesn't extend to this one. I thought it did. That's interesting. I thought it did extend across. Maybe it does. Yeah, so maybe it doesn't. Anyway, that's something that with the steed in through there, that does get the same sacreds, whatever we get for that one through there. So these are not fantastic. These are good at dodging, their defense skill, but not good at protection, which sort of means that they're going to be quite susceptible to missile fire. Because defense is not really used in the missile fire calculations. It all comes down to protection. The rider, it doesn't even have a shield or anything, just really got the lance. This will be probably one of our core units, though, just because it's of what it can then go and do. Like, it's not all that expensive. It does cost a fair bit of gold, so getting gold is going to be important to us. Resources, not very much. Recruitment points, 38. Which this is now a different area of recruitment, but we're not going to be able to get too many of these. So, we've got the, so these ones have extra abilities inside forests. So that will be an important one for us. We'll come back to that one when we get into the actual, into itself. Now, these are the Sisters of Thorn as well. These are similar, again, similar sort of protections. The Steed of Isha, again, sort of low protection through there. So very, very similar. These ones are using Entangling Roots, which is a special attack. The Lance of Isha back and through there, and then the Blackbriar Javelin, which does have a ranged attack. Yeah, probably. I don't know if I'll be using these. These are mobile archers, so this unit is able to fire even while moving. This ability only has effect for mounted units, and for the Javelin, at 3 ammunition there. Does do strong poison, and then Entangling Roots. Yeah, that's what's interesting as well. So this is another sacred. So it looks like we're going to be using mainly sacreds for the with these. These aren't sacred. So just trying to get a bit of a feel for what you can do. These aren't sacred as well, but these are a lot cheaper. Those we sort of see back and through here. These have got the reinforced leather cap, the full leather armor. So their protection is the same. Their defense skill is still pretty good. Just basic type units. These are not magic units, by the way, but whereas these are considered magic units. So we have to be, like when we get into the game, I don't know if it shows you that anywhere, but these, maybe the steed itself is considered a magic unit. A magic being there. Oh yeah, there we go, magic being. And so these here can only be, we've got to be careful. Actually, this one is not. The Sister of Thorn is not a magic being. But this one is. But I don't know if that, actually, I don't think that will then worry us if we use Sisters of Thorn. With this, yeah, so, we'll figure that one out when we're in game, I think. Then we actually have the things like the Way Watcher, which is a very, very stealthy unit. And it again has all these different abilities when it's actually inside forests. So this is quite interesting. We don't have any more sacreds, by the way. So these are all now just things like we've got daggers, Way Watcher longbows. And so these can be sort of used to sort of sneak through and do different things. They've got patrol bonuses, limited recruitment as well, by the way, with that one through there, 5 per turn. So these are very, very powerful archer units. And actually, what's their accuracy? The precision is 14, which is unheard of. That's incredibly strong. If we just go back through the other range units, we've got also then some Deepwood Scouts, precision 13 in this case. They use this longbow, which actually does have will not harm friendlies in forests, so we can sort of like friendly fire won't be a problem. But at this high precision, it's not going to be much of a problem anyway, to be honest. So that would all be pretty good. It would only be as units move in after they've already shot that could be a problem outside of forests, but if inside a forest, the arrows won't even hit them. Our Glade Guard is probably our weakest, but is like in terms of the precision is down to 12 in this case, but this is still fine. Still got the longbow. Again, good in the forests. That won't harm friendlies in the forest. So this is our basic archer, I guess, along with the other two, which are more specialised. We then actually have a number of different other units. We've got like a war dancer who has these different tattoos to give it other abilities, but it doesn't really have any protection at all. It relies on its defence, so probably won't be using these all that much. We do actually have also, and that's not sacred at all, by the way. Then we actually have the Wildwood Ranger. These are pretty good, actually. They've got the scale mail hauberk and iron caps. They've got good protection. Defense is not too bad as well. They do actually have this glaive that they use as their attack, and it does do some armor piercing. It's ×2 versus magic beings. So these are very, very good sort of attack type units. Only 18 gold, 19 resources, 18 recruitment points. So these are not too expensive. Everything is a little bit expensive for us, being elves, of course. And then we actually have the Eternal Guard as well with the Asrai Spear. The lengths are important. Like this is a length 3. The other one is a length 2. Now, if we come up against cavalry, we're going to be better off with these, with the length 3. This will be enough to stop most charges coming in, but it won't be enough, like the length 2 won't be enough because lances are typically length 3. So these are formation fighters. They get an extra bonus of 2, which means we can fit, rather than just, the size is 3, you can fit 10 10 size units inside a square or inside a tile, which means that typically you can only have like 3 human size or elf size units in an area. But with this bonus of another +2, it means that the 10 goes to 12, which means we can fit 4 of them in. So we can get a lot more of these fighting in formation, which is actually really, really important. I don't think we have it with the other one. No, this is just very, very basic, this Wildwood Ranger. These are still good, but the length 2 is a little bit of a problem. Just a little bit. This one here doesn't have any sort of magical ability. So the other ones are good at fighting against magical creatures, but these ones are good against just mundane and also definitely against cavalry. So I'm thinking we probably sort of look at these. These have also got kite shields, which are going to help them against archers, crested helmets, scale mail cuirass. These are probably our best frontline fighters. Anyway, that's a bit of a rundown. As far as our heroes are concerned, we've just got like basic scouts. We've got different captains running through here, running from very, very low leadership in through this other side, where they only get a squad bonus of +1 for up to 3 squads, up to... we then have a Glade Lord who's got 150 leadership. We get +2 morale bonus up to 4 squads. So this will be sort of like our backbone of our mundane armies. Will be sort of led by the Glade Lords. We've then got things, for example, like the Warhawks, which are essentially mainly just it's their flying ability that is the benefit. You can see there the Asrai Lance, length 3. These lances then allow them to do charges. So, and then they've got the Warhawk itself, which is the actual, what he's flying in on. We've got the Waystalker, which sort of works in with the Way Watcher, and so this is like a commander in that sort of capacity. These are quite interesting. Like these actually get the assassin ability in forests. So if we got forests around us, we'll be wanting to have some of these just to sort of operate in and against anything that comes through the forest. So these will be our first line of defense in forest areas. So we'll sort of be doing assassinations a lot with those in forest. We've got the Glade Rider, back in through here. We've then got the different priests, so just low-level priests, but still sacreds. The Shadow Dancer is an interesting one. What this one does is it has low-level magic leadership, but enough to be able to like transport the magical creatures, because we will end up with a lot of magical creatures. So we need to have, one of the things with these is we've got a magic leadership of only 10 at the start, which is not good enough. So we need to have full-on magical leaders, and this will mostly be done through the tree men, as we saw there before, with their very, very high magical leadership. We've then got things like the Spell Singer, which is just like one of our basic sort of magic units. Good researcher. So we'll sort of be using them for site searching, but also for just basic research initially. We then have a Dark Weaver, who's got more of like death magic sort of approach. Again, a little bit better in what it can then go and do. It does have other paths available in through here as well, but this one does break us into death quite nicely. We then got the High Weaver, which is sort of like the I guess the more extended version of the Spell Singer. And so you can see through there, starting off with 2 nature and also 2 astral back in through that other side, a level 2 priest, and then pretty much the full gamut of air, water, earth, nature, and glamour back in through there again as well. So we end up with a fairly diverse group of magic anyway, with the different units we actually have. And so this one is fairly good. Spell Singer, take more time to cast spells, but also take far less fatigue. Spell Singers have no effect on divine spells. That's okay. Right, so that's the High Weaver. So we're fairly good in through there. We had a bit of a look at these Ancient Tree Men before. Very high priest levels, so they'll be able to take over the different sites. Nature Mage level 3 as well. So this one gets us to Nature 3 fairly readily. This one here we should get to Nature 3 pretty easily as well. This one here we don't have any extras. Like this is what we see is what we get. It does give us Earth magic though in this instance. So these are fairly important. That's pretty much a bit of an overview through what we're doing. So we sort of now have a feel for that we don't need a lot of there's not very much armor that we sort of see through any of our units. their resource account is low in comparison to the gold. And so across the board, that's pretty much the same, except for these sort of units where the resources and gold are similar. So resources is not important to us, but gold is. So let's just go and click on OK, and then we come back in and start to build this one up. Now I've already built what I want to have to play with, just to sort of save some time, because otherwise we're going to be sort of, I'm going to be here for too long. I'm just going to load it in. I've loaded in two different options, but I'll load in just an oracle. Maybe I'll just go through and build it so you can sort of see what the build was. But the physical form, the way this one works is that you start off, this is the level of dominion you start with, and these also then are segmented into different types of units that you can sort of see as you make your choice. Now remember that we had the +2 in growth. If I press tab, I then get to see the bonuses that they come in with. Now the +1 growth that we see, for example, with this unit, where we end up with a growth scale limit of +1, it doesn't allow us to then move the growth scale up an extra 1. We lose this +1 ability. It's whatever the highest is of whatever we choose, either the faction or the unit. And so for us, in essence, this particular horned one, we lose that ability. So I'm going to be probably not worrying too much about going with anything that is showing growth, which leaves us with not very many to choose from. Now, not that you don't have to do that, but that's a bit of a wasted, that extra growth is not something we're going to be able to make a lot with. Back in through here, we do actually have, this one it adds to the turmoil away from order. Order is good for money. So again, this one here, we've got two negatives with what we actually have there. So I won't go that way. What I was thinking of doing was either choosing right down in the bottom through here and just choosing an Archdruid, or coming back up to here to the Oracle. This one starts me with Dominions 4, and I do want to have high Dominion when we play this game, because if we go to the growth scale of, and I'll just show you, if we go to growth scale 4, see at 3 we end up with income goes up a little bit, supplies go up a lot, growth in everything goes up. But if I then flick it to growth level 4, which I can do, we then get slowly turns plains to forests. So if we've got dominion over an area, there's a chance that it will slowly change into forest. So this is important that we start off at growth level of 4, just for our own building forests in around where we actually have our so we can try to terraform the world. That will be important for us. Anyway, let's just go back in. So that's actually where we want to be starting with that one through there. And so we can sort of knock back our productivity, for example. We can go negative there. And because this one will then knock the income down, but the resources go way down, which means that we don't need a lot of resources. So that's how we can get a few points back out using this one here. Let's go back into the physical forms. So just a bit of a summary. The Dominions one will tend to be like humans that are going to be quite weak, but very strong in magic. So these are your sort of human pretenders, like your mages will often come from this group. Dominions 2 is often the great beasts. So you've often got your dragons or your solar eagles, different sorts of actual animals. Dominion 3 will typically be very, very powerful titans that you then get to use. These can still walk around the map and do different things. These are going to be sort of like super combatants. If they're, sorry, I've got hiccups. If you do bring them through. And then Dominions 4, these are your statics, or your non-moving, typically non-moving, pretender gods. In this case, these are often safe to use if you're a new player, because you're not going to be able to move them into danger. And so if you're wanting to sort of play aggressively, then choose Dominions 3 or 2. If you're wanting to just learn the game, I guess I would still sort of err to go either Dominions 4 or Dominions 1, but protect your leader fairly strongly. So in this case, I'm going to go with the Oracle, which gives me a couple of water, which I don't really have a lot of, and glamour in through there as well. So the water will give me defense, so I can get more defense by using water. So if we just go back into this other side. Now, one of the things with this one, new paths only cost 40 with this one, which isn't too bad. Some of the others might cost more, like that's a 40 as well. If I go down into the Titans, there's a 60. If I go down into the animals, theirs is 80. If we go right the way down into the bottom through here and choose one of these, there's only 10 to break into another one. So you can end up with a lot of different magical abilities using the using the low level, the human forces down through here. But quite often you don't want to be breaking too far out of what they've got. In this case, I'm just going to be using glamour and water to do what I need to do. I think I might just load in what I did, and just because I've already got it all set up, so I'm just going to go Control L, and I'm just going to choose the oracle that I did actually bring back through. And so what I've done with this one is I've boosted the glamour to 4, the water to 5, and I didn't spend too much time doing this, by the way. And when you sort of go over 4, you've then got like different things that the priest can then go and do. So in this case, they've got Purifying Water and Watery Death are 2 of the spells that they then get to use because of what we sort of chose as our major magical ability. Back and through here. I'm not too worried about. I'd like to get somebody that can actually do Nature 4 if I can. But in this case, we've got our own. We've got other magic users which we should be able to get to. One of them should eventually be at Nature 4, and we don't need it immediately, but we want to get that one eventually. I've put in just 1 defense skill back and through here, so we get +1 defense. But I've gone with Undreaming, which I don't really need that one, but I've got nothing else to really sort of do with it. This is only like a 1 bless point to sort of bring this one in. I've gone with Blur, which makes our units more difficult to hit. And so it sort of works a little bit like defense, and then Heroism as well, just to get more experience so we can level up a bit faster. So that's the simple stuff that we did through there. In terms of the Dominion effects, got the 4 in through there. I've gone with 3 magic. I've really maxed out the magic as well. I don't need to do that, but I have done it. I've gone with 1 luck, just so that anything that magically happens will hopefully be good for us. So I've gone that way. I could make it so that we either go with more hot or cold as well and grab another 40 points that way. That could be useful, now that I'm thinking about it. If we... so I can go that way and give myself another 40 points. I can either cold or hot. Either way, we sort of end up. Look, I won't worry too much about it. It does take the income down. Let's just leave it where it is. And I've got Dominion 6, so I've actually bolstered this one up to try to grow the forests. So that's actually why that one's been done. Anyway, we've gone dormant, so we're sort of like asleep for 12 months. So let's just click on OK. I'll just call it Oracle, or actually I'll call it DasTactic. There we are. So, and now for starting the game up, you can, if you have a bit of a look, you can see that you can actually load previously saved settings. And I do actually have some settings, but it doesn't change everything. If I go Control L, they've now loaded in. But they did change in the minor story events are enabled, score graphs are enabled. So I've got, like, it remembers these divine rules, but it doesn't remember much else. Like renaming, for example, isn't remembered. I will turn that one on. We probably won't use it, but I will just keep it turned on. The thrones that we have, it doesn't affect these so much. Although, actually, no, it does. It did bring these in, which is good. So this has got Ascension points required 6. We've got 6 level 1 thrones, and I've got 2 level 2 thrones in this instance as well. So we've got total number of Ascension points is 10, but we just require 6 of them. So we don't have to take the whole map. We'll just click on OK with that one through there, and in we go. Now, one of the really cool things with this mod is it does actually give you a quick overview of what to do or what to expect with each faction, which is great. I wish the base game had this actually. So it goes through and tells you, for example, in King of the Woods, the second turn of spring of year 1, so on turn 13 of the game, you'll receive an event that gives you Orion, a very powerful military commander, and single combatant. In the second month of each winter, you get an event that kills Orion if he's still alive, or perhaps he will die in battle before then. But either way, he is spring immortal, so we'll return in the first month of the following spring. So every year we're going to get Orion coming in for us to then be able to use, but he'll always, of course, then start back. So if we're miles and miles away from our home province, we get every year he starts back in the home province. That doesn't really matter that much. Yeah, Forest Home. We've had a look at these with the labs and temples, and also the Bramble Forts. But it's nice to actually have that little bit of information for when you do go through. Let's see if we're going to be restarting. See how we don't have any forest, but we do actually have a lot of plains. It's interesting. Got a lot of plains, but no forest. I really want to have more forest. I'm going to start again. Okay, so this is actually a much nicer start for us playing as the Elves. Well, we actually have 3 other forest provinces very, very close, touching Athelloran. So we've got a few there, and we can then get a few others that we can expand into. Got a couple of interesting locations in through here as well, with the various thrones of Ascension, which is going to be really what we're going to be aiming for to then win the game. But this gives us a good ability. I think this will be fun for us to play. There is actually a forest that runs through here, so even though we've got Forest of the Falling Leaves is connected to Athelloran, there is actually a waterway in between. Now, if we had water walking or like swimming or something like this, we'd then be able to get across there. But we can't just move across there unless it freezes over. So in winter, we should be okay in the winter. Anyway, let's continue on. The one thing just to explain as well, it's even though we're showing a border which includes this forest in through here, it doesn't mean that we control the forest. All it means is that the people in the forest believe in our god, in our pretender god, and so dominion is spread there, but it's not the actual border of our lands. We only control Athelloran. So if you are new to the game, that can look confusing when you see these borders. It really comes down to what flag is being flown. In this case, it's just the grey independent flag. So let's move in. We can't see any ways underground at all. You just use the arrow keys to maneuver around. We've got bridges that extend across all the way through here, which is interesting. And eventually, we hope that these plains in through here will then turn into, and if I click on these, or if I right-click on them, you can see it's plains and a river, plains and river, plains and mountain. So these will eventually turn into forest with the growth that we actually have. This one won't. This is just wasteland. So the wasteland will stay as the wasteland, I think. I don't think that will then sort of change too much. But these are the plains. We may end up with forest all the way through here. Back in through here, we've got more plains and mountains, but plains, again, will turn into forest. Farmlands won't. So farmlands and mountains back in through this other side. And then we've got more forest back on the other side there. So just from a perspective of where we are, I like the look of this start. This one looks very, very cool. All right, let's go in and just sort of do our first turn bits and pieces. Now, we do actually have one scout. So we've got, so this is Aureus is going to then march off. And I think we'll go, we can see a little bit further what's happening there. Let's go this way. So we'll just move out across this into the Rim Mountains and just sort of see where we are. There must be a mountain range that runs along this border, I would guess. But we'll find that out. And then the other one that's back over through here, so Clensai is only a Glade captain, so pretty low level leadership. Only can have up to 3 squads, but only morale bonus of +1. And so I need somebody to become our pretender. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up initially, and then we're going to go, and rather than attack with half-assed essentially, I want to go and be able to take over different locations cleanly and without losing too many units. So we're going to prepare. It may take us 3 or 4 turns. This is one thing that's a bit different now in Dominion 6 as opposed to the previous Dominions, is that you should spend a bit more time building the army that you want. So let's go and do that. So let's just go and press R for recruitment. Actually, I should get used to showing the buttons. The army setup will then show us what we can then do with the different groups. So he is now moving off, which we can sort of see in through there. We've got, we already have a few of the Glade Riders, so the basic cavalry units, but they do actually have the lance, so they can actually sort of do the charge. And then we also have a few of the Glade Guards. Now, we're going to need a lot more Glade Guards than what we see through here, maybe double that, I would think. At least, so they've got 10 units. They've got 10 of these as well. So if we go back and start to plan, if we just go back into recruitment, which is R in through here, if we just go back into the recruitment, we can see there that we've got, we've got 2 commander points. We've got recruitment points of 390, which means that we can recruit probably around about, say, 10 to 12 basic units per turn, which is not a hell of a lot. We can't recruit these just yet. We need to, the Dryads require, I think that they require, form depends on the season. Currently in autumn form. Autumn form is the default when recruiting, no matter the season. Yeah, okay, that's going to be fine. I don't think we have much we can do with that one at this point in time. But there is a limit with what we can do, I believe. Actually, no, it's saying we can get them. Is it this one here? Yeah, the Dominion is too low. This one does require a higher Dominion. So it requires Dominion 4+ and a temple to recruit. So we can't get these just yet. Not that we want them so much. These are useful though, just as sort of like basic units for sort of rushing forward. These are magical creatures. But let's just get our mundanes set up first. Now, if we go with the Sisters of Thorn, these ones require less gold, more resources, 38 recruitment points. But these are sacred. So I can only get as much as we've got our Dominion setting is. So I've only got 6 holy points. So we'll definitely grab some of those. And we're sort of now rattling through through what we're doing. But one more holy point. I want to have probably the Warhawk Captain is not the greatest leader. I'm going to be here for a couple of turns anyway. But the Warhawk Captain, I want the Warhawk Captain to be our pretender, just so we can sort of have someone that's very, very maneuverable to be able to then go from fight to fight right the way across the map. So let's go and bring him in. He's only 1 commander point. These are fairly low-level commanders, so I might as well go and grab myself another scout as well. That then takes up both commander points. Recruitment points are still sort of rattling through those. Still got 48 resources. Now, the Eternal Guard was the one that had the formation fighter. And 15 resources. These are 19 resources. So I think I'm going to go with the Eternal Guard. We're going to need a lot of these. Yeah, we're now sort of chewing into the resources. We'll leave them there like this, I think. We've still got one more holy point. I could have grabbed another one of these in here. I'm going to probably need to we may be here for a bit longer than what we think, just while we get our first army set up. All right, so we'll go and exit that one, and just going back through, bid for mercenaries. There will be actually there's some good swordsmen, 250. I've only got 143 left. I won't worry about the mercenaries. Then we've got the Province Chronicles. This will then just go through. I love this that they've added this in. Just going through essentially what's going on. With the information, it's so much good things have been added into Dominion 6. It really is amazingly good. Any messages? No, we don't need to look at those. Send messages? No. The nation overview, it just gives us a bit of this is always an important one to look at. This is F1, but in this case we don't need to do anything with that one just yet. Score graphs we won't worry about. The Hall of Fame, we should see who we're actually playing against. The Pretenders of the World. So we actually have we've got ourselves in through here. Now this is going to be the Tomb Kings, so we've got the Undead is here, which is going to be fun. So they're there. We've got Harak, which is going to be, these are Beastmen, so we've got the Beastmen as well. We've got Theos, which is the Chaos Dwarves. We've got Himrir, which is the Aldorf. Seat of the Emperor, and we've got Python as well, which is the Lizardmen. Cool. Okay, we've got a bit of everything. I think that's Lizardmen. Yeah, that's a Lizardmen faction. So that's what we're going to be coming up against, which is going to be fun. Okay, so let's go and end our turn here, and we'll sort of just get started. One commander is doing nothing. Now, it doesn't matter. I could have just patrolled, but it really doesn't matter with that particular unit. There's nothing for them to do. Now, they've proclaimed the Beastlands, the Chaos Dwarves, Altdorf, and Issa have all proclaimed prophets in turn 1. We haven't. We now get to see our neighbours to see what we can then go and attack. Now, what we're scared of more than anything is cavalry, so heavy cavalry. So we'll have a bit of a look and see what we've got around the place. So in through here, we have militias, archers, and heavy infantry. This is cool. So we should be able to get to this one fairly readily. This is just like supposition. It's not really exact. We're going to have more information here because we've got a scout there. There's those mountain ranges that we thought we could see. That was actually what was stopping the vision from there. So it consists of 70 units, mainly heavy infantry, militias, and archers. Back in through here, we've got ourselves just woodsmen, blowpipes, and woodsmen. This is very low level. They're going to be easy for us. More of the wolf tribe warriors. They're like mini barbarians. Again, not really a problem for us. Back in through here, we end up with just 30 units. These are militias, heavy infantries, and archers. And then finally, back in through here, The army consists of mainly militias, archers, and light infantry. So this is all very, very doable for us. And we've got like a lot of them surrounding our main province. So this all is going to then feed in as we bring these in around the cap circle. This is called the cap circle because it goes into the capital. So in essence, once we actually claim all of these, we're in a very, very strong position. So I think we'll just start at Amber Fields and just work our way around once we build up the army strong enough. And then we'll just keep on supplementing it with other forces to bring them in, just to join up with the actual group. So in this turn, I'm just going to go across. Now, Clensai, again, is just the Glade Captain. I'm just going to have that one just patrolled because we don't really want it to do anything. Patrol Province. This one here, we want this one to become the Prophet. This particular one, we'll move this one off in this direction and we'll just see what else we can find. Just find out where the neighbours actually are. Back in through here, we'll head down into these farmlands. And that's got all of our commanders now operating, but we now need to go back into recruitment. Now, we've only got like a handful of these Eternal Guards. I still want to get more of the Sisters of Thorn. So I'll move them. That's another 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can do down there. But getting back up through here now, this one doesn't have great leadership. No, there's no bonuses there. Now, I do want to get a Glade Lord. So I'm going to go and grab that one through there. That's going to then mean that we don't get very many of those at all this turn. But let's go and grab one of these, just to be our major, the main person. Actually, do we want to do that, or do we want to go back? We've got 630 back through there. I don't have enough gold for those. I do for this one, ultimately. If that was then the commander, the leadership is too poor. We don't get any bonuses with that one. It's only for magical. No, we don't need that one just yet. We do need one of these. These Glade Lords give me +2 morale bonus, which keeps them in the fight. So that's an important one for us to go and get. We'll throw that one in there. So we've got that Glade Lord, and we'll just start to getting another of the Eternal Guard. So we'll be here for a couple more turns. All right, so everyone is now moved. We'll just end our turn there. A few battles resolving, but it's not involving us. Proclamation from Athaloran and Nakara have now also got their profits, so everyone's getting their profits out. This one has now gone up to 160 enemy units. I mean, it's sort of, it'll bounce around a little bit, but it's still doable for us. Like, we're going to see more in the farmlands than we will anywhere else anyway. These different locations, I'll bounce across. Actually, I need to be scouting, so I'll just keep on scouting across. Maybe we go this way. And I'm going into the swamp. Good foresting through here again as well. Like, coming across all these forests is really important for us. We're so focused on forests, it's just not funny. It really is something we want to be getting hold of. And in fact, what we probably want to be wanting to do fairly early is to bounce across into the Felden Forest and claim this one as well, and then build a bramble fort there, just so we've got the extra expansion. Anyway, that's fine where we are. So now Alveolus is just going to be defending. I'll just get that one, preaching the teachings of God, because what we want to be doing here is our Dominion is only 2, and we really want to be pushing the Dominion out, because what we want to do is we want to be affecting the growth, so we end up with 4 growth. When we start to see 4 growth in the areas that we control, not so much, doesn't matter so much for the forest, but these plains, we definitely want these flicking across into other forests. So getting the High Dominion is going to then push the growth up. And so we end up with the 4 growth. I don't even know if we've got 4 growth. Yeah, we do have the 4 growth back at home already. So this is good stuff. So we'll just keep on preaching for now until we sort of build up. Monond, we'll just keep that one also just patrolling the province for now, just while we keep on building up. So we'll just now go and go back to recruitment, and I want to just make sure I do keep on bringing different units in. I'm going to go and get myself a Spell Singer, just a basic sort of magic unit back in through here, and which doesn't give me a hell of a lot of gold. I've still got a fair few resources. Still want more of these, really, just to sort of to carry what we're doing. That should be enough after we get these. I would have liked to have gotten more of the Glade Guards in. Maybe we'll just do that and bring the Glade Guards in as well, just so we've got like a collection of these just to sort of flesh out. Then we hopefully will start to be able to go off and start attacking. So we'll finish off this episode with that attack, maybe on Amber Fields. That's going to be one of the harder ones. I'm sort of tempted to go into these locations first, although we don't have Dominion there just yet. Could even go Waywoods. We could go this way, and then end up there with feeding in a bigger army by the time we get there, and then coming back over to the other side and moving and grabbing these. That might we lose a turn by doing that, but by the time we get there, we're nice and strong. So maybe we do that. Anyway, let's go and end our turn there. So we now have a magic user back in through here. I'm just going to get that one researching. So we'll now have a look at our research. So the research is over through here, F5. And the way we're sort of playing is we get some random things. We've got enchantment and thaumaturgy back in through there. I'll finish this one off, both of these, to get them to level 2. So we'll just get them up to level 2 nice and easily. Evocation is usually a nice one for aggression. Alteration, we've already got a little bit in there anyway. This will then help us with blurring. We've already got pretty much where we need to go there. Construction is important. I'll go to 4 there. Let's just do that, and then we'll sort of leave it and see what we end up getting. Treasury is low. Still building up our forces. I think we'll start to head off now. So let's go and we'll just go back into recruitment and figure out what we want to do here. So I wouldn't mind grabbing a treeman, maybe one of these. That would be the magical leadership. Still not really ready for it. We're not really ready for it. I think we'll just keep on bolstering the these here. One thing we can do, actually, with the forest areas, I could grab myself a Waystalker and use this as an assassin in the forest. That way we'll end up... There's nothing super strong in the forest, though. It really does... Like, what we want is this one over here to ditch those. I think I'll leave that one out. I think I'll leave the Waystalker out for now. We'll just keep on going with the basic magic units. Yeah, because we've got enough commanders now. So these take up all the commander points to grab these. Now, in terms of what else we want for these, I think we'll just go and grab more Glade Guards. Wouldn't mind getting a few more of these, actually. Get a few of the Sisters of Thorn. Yeah, we're out of gold now. That'll do. All right, well, they're going to be sort of coming in next. Let's just go back in. And we're going to be using... Monond to actually carry everyone around into the actual fights, and we're going to go in with Alvelis into the actual to go in and sort of just bless the blessable units. So with what we do here, we just go and press T or press the army setup. One thing you can do is if you're wanting to not see the researchers, you can just press the Z key. So you're only looking at the units that are not researchers, which makes it a little bit easier. So I'll just do that here. You can see through here that this one here has got up to 4 different stacks it can take. This one's got 2, but we want this one to come in and transport the others. So we don't really want that one doing what it's doing just yet. Let's go and just position everyone. So we've got... only got 9 of those units, so I can place these units in amongst them so that we end up with like a group of 19 together. So that will be okay. We'll throw those in there. And then all we've really got is just the front line troops and then the archers. So we'll just go and throw each of these into the mix. So we've got 15 archers, only 10 of these guards, which is not a hell of a lot, to be honest. I thought I had more than that. Now 4 of these they've only got like 3 squares worth because 4 of these will fit inside a single square. All right, well, we're going to have to focus on getting more of these over time as well. So maybe we'll go back to our recruitment and change this. And just build up many, many more of these. Yeah, that'll do. Just get them sort of started, just so we can start to bring them across and feed them into the armies as we go. All right, so the army that we actually have through here. So we've got Monond is going to be attacking with Alvelis into the Waywoods. So they're going to go back into that side through there. We'll just go back across. If I right-click on this one and press Y rather than T, I can press Y to see what's going to happen with what's going to be coming in. This is often a nice way to plan your attacks. And so in this case, we're going to have like a big group of these units which have to get around the outside. So if we go and position these off, these are the 10 Glade Riders and 6 Sisters of Thor. Thorn, I think, is what they're supposed to be, but anyway, Sisters of Thor is what it says through there. We'll leave them in there. We'll keep them. We can't do much with those. I'll keep them as box formation. It gets them to travel faster. We want these to attack the rearmost enemies in all cases. So they're just going to come in from the side. If we then just go and right-click will then move it. Left-click will then go and select it. We've got the Glade Guards back and through here. I'm going to put them into line formation and tell them to fire and keep distance at the closest enemy. So they're going to be firing at whatever's closest. And then we just go back to the Eternal Guards back into here. I need these to ultimately be the front line troops, and this is just being a line formation, but we've only got 3 squares worth of these, so it's not a hell of a lot, but they will at least be what gets attacked. And so these are our best abilities or best bet for having the units just do what they do. Now I'm going to have them hold an attack or just attack. Maybe just attack closest enemy. Just move them back slightly. Bring these back into these 2 locations. You can just stay behind troops. And you have got very specific battle orders. So we're going to go and cast a specific spell. The first one is going to be Divine Blessing, just to get all of our blessable units blessed. And then the next one is going to be things, for example, like Sermon of Courage is always a good one, just to sort of bolster the troops. And I'll do a couple of Watery Deaths. And then we'll just have it cast spells at that point. We don't want it flying, so just cast spells is all it will then go and do. So that's everyone now set up for the scripting for the actual for the auto combat, which will be good. It's all done. All right, so we've got those now coming in. So we'll take this one. This will be an easy battle for us. And I think we might even leave it here as for the session. We've gone for an hour. So thanks for watching, guys. This will be episode 1. We did play a little bit into it, which is good, and we sort of got set up relatively fast. Hope you enjoyed it so far. Please like and subscribe if you do like this sort of content. As I said at the start, it certainly does help. I'll catch you next time.